Welcome back to the Rise interview. I'm Somna Sambo, and we're still discussing Vice President Yemi Osinbajo's declaration earlier on today. And joining me to take a look at the declaration of by Vice President Osinbajo is Dr. Obinna Ebirim, who is the National Coordinator Southeast for Osinbajo, and also the Secretary of the Progressives Youth Group. And also I have Dr. Daniel Onyemaka, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the National Coalition Group for Osinbajo. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let's talk about what this declaration means to a lot of Nigerians. Dr. Onyemaka, I mean, there was a very strong message there of continuity of some programs by President Buhari. And just like I had asked one of his associates earlier on, wouldn't it count against him? I mean, wouldn't some people want to use that against him politically for wanting to continue with some Buhari policies? Is it a source of strength, or is it a source of political weakness for him to say that?
Yeah, I don't see that as a political weakness. Okay, you are under an umbrella for the past 7 years. You've been serving effortlessly, putting everything you've got into it to ensure that the administration works out fine. And Osinbajo himself as a person has never been a weakling. You know, a lot of people might have different interpretation regarding in respect to that statement, but the fact is that, you see, look, he has always been a very loyal servant to Nigerians and being an ardent supporter of his box. So one will expect that it is not out of place for such statement to have arisen while he declared. Politics is individualistic. Nigerians are aware that this man, Osinbajo, is a core technocrat, a professional in several fields. And making that statement that about continuity, I don't see how that is wrong, because if you watch very carefully, he's not departing from the party that actually brought him into power. So it have an inking, and it will not be proper. I don't see it as a proper thing, rather making his declaration without referring to that very theme of the next level where they are coming from and adding continuity. I do not see that at all.
Okay, and to you, Dr. Ebirim, let's talk about Osinbajo as a person. This is his only federal job that we've seen him doing. The only time he's come to national limelight is him serving as the vice presidential running mate to Muhammadu Buhari in 2014, going to 2015, and then he was re-elected last year as, in 2019 as vice president. Apart from that, Nigerians have never got used to an Osinbajo holding any national position. Now that he wants to run alone, why should Nigerians actually entrust this #1 office in the country to him?
Okay, thank you. You see, it's not just this short period, it's a good short period, because why I say it's a good short period is a period that saw him act as an acting president, I think 4 times. And I think we shouldn't be looking at this, or Nigerians should be looking at this from the point of view of longevity, how long he has served, but it's how well he has served. I want to argue that he is the most competent aspirant who has declared. Within this period, we saw an Osinbajo that supported the President Buhari administration, especially in the area of the economy. We saw what he did with the economic sustainability plan, which he led development, and that gave birth to the Youth Fund, the Artisan Fund, the Survival Fund. And through that, Nigeria was able to come out from the economic recession in 2002 and 2020 and 2021. And then I think that sometimes when we talk about leadership, a leader will be faced with challenges. We know that the last 7 years we've had a lot of challenges, and one key one that people have forgotten is the COVID-19 pandemic that drove even the best economies of this world into recession, right? But through a well thought out and implemented economic plan, Nigeria was able to come out of that recession, and we saw the man who led it, who is the vice president. We also
isn't it the function of the economic team? I mean,
yeah, but he led.
Have just been only
yes,
vice
but he led it. You know, we are talking about leadership. We are not electing. We are not asking Nigerians to elect a President Yemi Osinbajo that will walk alone, but the President Yemi Osinbajo that will provide the right leadership that will drive this country to prosperity and progress. And we have seen him do this. In fact, one time when he was the acting president, he was doing so well. He was doing so well that a past senator called it magical. He said, "What magic have you been doing?" Within a short time, the naira was appreciating. So it's for us today, we don't even see this as declaration. We see it as an acceptance, because as ordinary Nigerians, we have been calling on him. Say, you are the most competent, right? You need to continue on the legacies of the President Mohamed Buhari and build on it. Please come out and run. And we're excited. We're excited that today he has accepted that call. Today we accepted this acceptance today. Thank you. Well,
very interesting indeed. He just made reference to when Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was the acting president, but politically that also got him into hot waters. I mean, you remember it was when he became the acting president that he sacked Lawal Darau, the former DSS Director General then, and then he forwarded the name of Ibrahim Magu, the former acting EFCC chairman, to the Senate, and some other things that actually led him into trouble. It was a mixed period. A lot of people were for, a lot of people were against some of those things, and politically in the North, it looks like he was trying to usurp the powers of the president, because they said that he didn't do a lot of consultation. Do you think that President Muhammadu Buhari will be President Yemi Osinbajo, so to say, will be well accepted by other parts of the country if he gets the APC ticket?
Yes, I am very, very confident about that, seriously, because you see, if I am to go back to what you said about the sacking of the Lawal Daura of DSS, the country was boiling. He didn't just stop that, he ordered the security chiefs to relocate to Borno State in that period, if I remember vividly. You see, Nigeria is fighting a very big war. Even if we want to be diplomatic by not measuring it out, every Nigerian today, we are walking in the dark tunnel for the unknown. That is gospel truth. And Yemi Osinbajo being who he is, I know he's not a docile person. The few period he had the opportunity, he was able to register his name on the template and see that, Nigerians, you've got a technocrat as an assistant president or as a vice president. I won't watch and fold my hands and see things go wrong. There are a lot of killings. So the Nigerian we used to know is not the Nigerian we are today. That is gospel truth. And if you watch his declaration, people are using those tenets as an alibi to, like, we're standing behind Osinbajo. The support Osinbajo is going to Ghana is not mainly political. It's a personal thing. I tell people that, say, look, forget the issue of the fine is under the APC, which is well and correct. But then if you check Israel in 1993, when the Northerners didn't queue behind too far, they went after Abiola. We're talking about your personal effort, what you've done to liberate the country. What you've done to liberate the country from the shackles of this insecurity, menace, people killing is out of faction. We no longer value human lives. So that period, only people whose benefits are tied to personal politics were the ones that actually held him by the anger. But a lot of Nigerians knew quite well that what decision he took was actually best for the country, because you cannot be docile, ordering a security team, and something is happening in the country. It was a bizarre. In fact, those things didn't really place our profile and our resume for the international world on a plain sheet.
But some people were also afraid of his leadership style, which made a lot of members of the presidency to ask Buhari to rush back to the country.
No, it is expected. It is expected. It is expected, because when it was no longer business as usual, they were so used to the monotonous act of leadership, and you take this or you delay, you take it precipitate. Then some actions require urgency. The people that were not comfortable were the big men that don't have their family in Nigeria. People that were not comfortable were the ones that could sleep with millions of security people at their gates. We're talking about taking the interest of Nigeria into consideration. That was what he did, and Nigerians applauded him. That is the truth. Whatever statement they are making in that regard is just to derail his personality, and I'm very sure it will not fly, because Nigerians know much more better. Osinbajo is for the masses, and that is who the masses are going for. So far, so good, like my brother said. Among those I have declared, I see me as the most competent. That is the truth. Okay,
and let's come to you. You're canvassing for Osinbajo in the southeast. I mean, we've seen what's going on. Lots of persons in the southeast saying that it's the turn of the Igbos to actually bring a presidential candidate in both the APC, PDP, and other political parties. Why would you be doing this? And what sort of support are you getting, or have you even received some sort of anger from many people from the southeast as you canvass for him?
So interestingly, the people of the southeast are supporting Osinbajo. And now let me just paint the mood of the southeast. We have gotten to that point. When you talk about leadership and development in the southeast, the governors are our brothers. The House of Assembly members are our brothers and sisters, right? And we have not seen the level of leadership we have envisaged in the states. So I think now the southeast, we've gotten to that point where we're not looking at ethnic bias and all that. We're looking at that person who is competent, who will make our business thrive.
So are you saying that there are no competent persons
so
from the Southeast?
We are saying that the
APC or PDP president?
We are saying, what we are saying is that if a more competent person from the Igbo land comes, we will back him up. But as it is today, the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is the most competent. And as Igbo men, we are mostly traders. And we are looking at that person who would do things that will benefit us. We saw what he's doing with the micro, medium, small and medium clinics, the ease of doing business. These are the things that are making our business thrive, right? And we cannot, because of ethnic bias, go for someone that at the end, our business will not thrive, our livelihoods will not grow. So we see in Yemi Osinbajo the hope for a better tomorrow for the Southeast. And he's someone that has this spirit or practices justice and equity, which is something that the Southeast is looking for. We want a president who will ensure justice so that the man in Kano, the Igbo man in Kano, can trade peacefully, and the Hausa Fulani man can come to Enugu or Umuahia. I heard it in his speech today. So that's the kind of president we want. We don't want a president that is divisive. We don't want a president that will be talking about the division of this country, because the strength of our business, also the number. The moment you break this country, some of the economic advantage we have in terms of sales of our goods would cease, because a lot of people come because we have the number as a country. So that is it. So the two things that is making the Southeast go for the President Yemi Osinbajo is that Vice President Osinbajo is that one, he is entrepreneurial minded, and two, he stands for justice and equity. These two things are key to
Now, let's talk about young people like you. I mean, a lot of young persons have met and said that they just want an Osinbajo to be the presidential flag bearer of the party. But do you know how tough it is to actually win the APC presidential ticket in the midst of Bola Tinubu's of this world, Rocha, Sokorocha, and Yaya Bello and all of that? What makes you optimistic that young people will be able to provide the necessary support to see him through that ticket? Because that's where a lot of persons are afraid for him, that it may be difficult for him to get that ticket to contest the presidential election.
So first of all, why are young people excited? Young people are excited that this is a vice president that speaks to things that concern young people. So he's someone that is tech savvy. You hear about his love for tech that has brought the Microsoft of this world and all that, right? And he's someone that is in tune with the reality. Even when the whole digital currency and asset stuff, you see how he spoke to things that concern. So in Yemi Osinbajo, we see that president that is youth friendly. But then talking about whether he will win the APC ticket, what we have seen is a president, Yemi Osinbajo is a unifier. Vice president. So I don't know why I'm calling him president. Because some of us already see him as president.
It looks like you don't want him to contest. So because you can only be president if you get the ticket of the party.
Okay, Vice President Osinbajo, right, is a unifier. He's one person that is loved across board. I traveled about 4 weeks ago to the Southeast, South, right? And what my friends in other parties are telling me, they say that President Osinbajo will settle quarrel. That means that he's someone that they are willing to do anti-party for only the presidency and support another presidency.
Okay.
So the APC, the question for the APC is, who are we going to the battle with to ensure the higher probability of victory? And I can assure you that among all those that have declared, Vice President Osinbajo stands out as that person that is loved across board, be it in the north, be it in the south. We have held declaration ceremony in Kano. We saw the crowd. We went to Uyo. We saw the crowd. And from the southeast, I know the crowd that is supporting in my southeast of Osinbajo. So he is a unifier. He is that person that will win the APC ticket. And I think that it is the best time for the APC, especially now we are changing the government, to give it to someone who would...
Very quickly, just before we go, Dr. Onyemaka, let's talk about Osinbajo and the fears of certain parts of the country that religiously, the accusations have been that he may not be able to manage the country's diversity in terms of religion, that maybe he favors his own denomination, the Redeemed Christian Church of God more and all of that. I mean, you must have read one or two of those criticisms. How will he be able to handle some of those criticism ahead of the party's primaries?
You see, such criticisms are not, let me say, it is what is expected actually. Osinbajo is a dedicated Christian, just the way you have Muhammadu Buhari as a dedicated Muslim. Osinbajo is one person that is a detribalized and it's not that kind of person, it's not a person that whose personality rather is surrounded by religious jingoism. is one person that touches all facets of the country. I do not actually see this. I'm just hearing from it because even the Muslims, the Christians and the non-Christians, everybody, they marks their support behind him. Osinbajo, the vice president, is one person that attends to the scene of events whenever there is anything in the country. He's loved in the north and all segments of the country you can think of. So I don't see that as a factor holding him back. That is just the truth, because if you watch, the level of his competence has sold him out. Is the level, if you watch from the beginning, when this issue of declaration was coming up, come and indicate interest and all that, they've harassed Osinbajo, they've harassed the vice president. A lot of group came up. You must do this, you must do that. Because Nigerians are crying for somebody who will liberate them. Right. Osinbajo is the pulpit in which the sermon of liberation will be preached and Nigeria will be made whole.
Very interesting in this. So it's the liberation leader.
Oh, exactly.
So, well, we must thank you so much. Dr. Daniel Onyemaka is the publicity secretary of the National Coalition Group for Osinbajo. Thank you for being on the show. And Dr. Obinna Eberim is the national coordinator Southeast for Osinbajo. Thank you for being on the show, and we can only wish him well. And we can also tell you that it's going to be a murky world of political party primaries, because I mean,
it's going to be a smooth
big
ride.
sharks are there. No, we can only wish him well.
We are ready.
All right. Thank you so much.